Screenflow is a great program that will record what you see on the screen. Using it right now to record this with a PowerPoint. It's for Macs, but there's a very similar program as Camtasia. There's a lot of different programs that you can use to create a recording that will then be your lecture. Now I'm going to show you how to use ScreenFlow, but the similar principles are going to work with just about everything. So let's jump in. First of all, this is my laptop screen, and I've got my ScreenFlow icon in the very top bar here, and we're all set ready for me to just go down there and click record. Now that's as simple as it is to start once you've installed it. Okay, and similarly that's the same thing, that once you finish you're going to stop the record there. And you can see some other useful functions just under the icon there in the top bar. If you want to pause it, and perhaps if someone comes to the door, or if you need to just reassess something, pause and then you can restart. Or equally, add marker will let you come back to it later on, and when you edit it, it will make some sense if you wanted to add in some images into your ScreenFlow document. Moving on. This is a really good option because you're probably looking at this screen and saying, goodness me, look at that. So organised, there's no sort of, documents around it. Well, the truth of the matter is I've clicked this, haven't I? Whether I'm going to hide desk icons. This would then, if I click that, it would show the desk icons and, it wouldn't look quite as clear. So before you start your recording, go on to the little icon for the program, and this should read hide desktop icons, and you will select that and you too will have a beautiful clean screen like this. And so then we've clicked record and this is what we see. Now there'll be a countdown. So before you hit this, you want on the screen the exact thing that you're going to start with. So it would be, for example, the first slide of your PowerPoint. So when that hits 0, it started recording. So if you cough or hesitate, whatever, that's part of your recording. It's not all lost though, because you can edit out very easily the beginning and end of your recording to make it look crisp when you're in the package itself. Okay, so that's what you're going to see before you start talking. What else? So you've finished your recording, you've hit stop recording, which would just be the icon, and stop, and this is what you see. So if you were just adding on a section to a lecture that you've recorded, say last week, and you forgot something you wanted to add, or you wanted to wait until you'd done a bit more research on something to add something new, well then you'd click the bottom circle. We're going to add to that existing document, and then you would choose that, and then you'd have a nice long lecture moving forward. But I would say mostly each lecture you do is going to be perfect and it's going to be ready to go. So we click the top one, create the new document, and then it's going to be okay. If it has not gone quite to plan and you're going to start again, fair enough, then you go for discard. But here we go, create a new document, okay. And then here we go. Now this might look at start a little bit daunting, but it's not. Okay, it's very simple. In the right hand here, you've got a sort of like thumbnail of the actual thing that you've recorded. Yeah, so that would just be like, you could click that and it would bring it back up. And then on the main screen, that's a sort of rerun of what you've just recorded. That's what the students are going to see, which is good to know. Now in the bottom level here, simple, just what you've built in microphone. It's just the audio. And right at the very bottom there, you've got each frame. So that's, that's kind of like it in very slow motion. Now, if you did want to lop off the very end, if you could obviously see that the last 2 slides were sort of your cat or something you really didn't want to have in, then it's quite simple. You'd need to just push these bottom lines inwards to where you wanted it to start. And the same for the beginning. You can see this red arrow there. You could just, and you would just cut it, or in fact you could just click the delete button once you'd signified the bit that you want to cut off. But in the early days, let's not worry too much about editing. Let's just concentrate on getting very short lectures that you're very happy about doing, almost lists of the information that needs to be delivered, getting that done, and out we go. It's all ready to roll. So well done. That's our first step to using a package to record what's on screen, which is really useful. Then what do we do? Well, click in File. We need to export. Okay, you save and save as is good. It's great. It's going to save it as a ScreenFlow document, which is useful, and I would do that as a backup definitely. But we want this as an mp4. Udemy also will accept MOV files, but I think for now let's just concentrate on getting it into an mp4. So File, Export. Now you actually could, if you wanted to, publish it to Vimeo, all sorts of things. So if you thought, do you know what, I'm not going to do my course on Udemy, I'm going to create my own Vimeo, then that's going to be a way forward for you. You could just put this straight onto that. Great. But for us here, we're doing our short Udemy course, export. And then it's going to be a lot easier. That's just a little click there of publish to, how you would have all those choices in your menu bar. You've got YouTube if you wanted to be a premium YouTube teacher, or you could just put it to Dropbox, Wistia or Vimeo. That would be the option, but we've gone for export, and so that will save it. But just have a look and see why we've done that, because if you file and you go for open the recent files, they've all got screenflow after them, and that's fabulous to keep as a record for you on your computer to edit later. It's great, but it's just not gonna if you try and upload that to Udemy, it's not gonna work. So this is where we know we're winning. Okay, you've clicked File, Export, and they've asked you to save as something .mp4, and you breathe out, because the minute you've saved it as an mp4, that's just easy to upload to Udemy. So I would go for saving it as something professional, not as sort of test file 4 or something, or Monday morning. It's just save it as something that if a student comes across that document and reads that, they'll know where they are. It's going to sound professional. So it could be introduction to guitar, whatever, but something nice and professional, and .mp4, that's great. You don't have to change all of these settings, but I will say that this is what Udemy likes. The resolution there, 1920 to 1080. I go for the normal on encoding quality, but you could change that. But I would go normal because that seems to work quite well. And then we go export, click the bottom, and that would appear then on our laptop desktop. And we'd be really happy because we would have done our first lecture, and the next step would be uploading it to Udemy. So that's what you will see once you've clicked go for it. Yeah, it's exporting. Don't touch it, don't cancel it. It can, if you've got slow internet, whilst it's exporting it to your laptop desktop, it can take a while, but it's fine. It needs to happen. Go somewhere with faster broadband if it's worrying you, but don't interrupt it. It will be ready when it's ready and not before. So when are we going to use ScreenFlow? Well, it's great for giving out a series of technical information. If you're summarising things, perhaps at the end of a lecture or a section, that's good too. If you're teaching computer programs or anything using technology, then it's probably the best way. You'll know when to use it best. It depends on your lecture and which you feel that is working best for you and providing a good service for your students. Well done. Let's get going now. Use whichever computer package that you have for recording the screen, and let's go for recording a 3 to 5 minute lecture. Go for the introduction, the very first one that's going to be in your course, and it can just be a very basic one, or it could be very in-depth depending on your level of knowledge, and that's fine, it's all good. So let's do that. I want a 3 to 5 minute ScreenFlow or Camtasia recording ready to get you going. Let's do this.